All right, hello. Good to be back. Season 2, your cult leader, gaining steam by the day. So in the news now, there's a bunch of talk about lists and watch lists and no-fly lists and this list and that list. I thought up a couple lists that maybe would be good to maintain. And I'm going to get into this later, but here's a couple lists. How about lists of people that have overstayed their visas? Let's find out where they're at. Lists of people who have committed known criminal acts that some states, Virginia in particular, is trying to let vote and influence the political process. Or how about some lists of people that are living in sanctuary cities to keep a good eye on those people? Some of those lists, besides just the IRS lists of conservative groups that they want to audit and whatnot. What the fuck, America?
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, give it all the chivalry. Overheard in a broke man soliloquy. Bust guns or break them down lyrically. Ring bells, I'm talking about liberty. Not tripping, shit got cigarette. Fall for the truth in which proximity? Real authenticity, can't rate well when you're false officially. Leave marks, leave parts of history. Who do we charge for the scars initially? Watch your enemies. Everybody brother ended up shot Kennedys.
All right, we're back. So, the heat of the election. So, Donald Trump, as a result of the Orlando thing and shooting and whatnot, and the screaming for gun control from everyone across, party lines, Trump goes to meet with the NRA. All right, so again, amid all this talk of lists and you can't fly, you can't buy a firearm, whatever. As a result of that, we hear that Trump is going to go meet with the NRA, who's already endorsed him, of course. They've already endorsed him because he's got decent, in their mind, gun views. However, he thinks that he might want to try to sway them, being the great negotiator that he is. He'll sway them to alter their position, and their position is, well, if you're on the terrorist watch list, it shouldn't preclude you from buying a firearm. Trump's going to go in there and say, you know what, dude, we don't need terrorists buying firearms, so why don't you guys moderate on that position a little bit, and terrorists should, if they're on that list, ease up. And I thought to myself, of course, Republican conservatives, Okies from Okie, went crazy. What? If Trump, I knew he's a closet liberal. He's throwing in with the Democrats. No, what he's trying to do is he's trying to appeal to the masses, and something that on first glance really does seemingly make common sense. In other words, if you're on the terrorist watch list, this vaulted terrorist watch list or no-fly list, do we really want you having a gun? The answer is no. My answer is no. So, Trump's position seems sound to go to these guys who clearly, love them or hate them, they represent not only gun owners, but they also represent gun manufacturers in a lobbying situation. Whether you agree with them or not, so that's what happens. So Trump's position makes sense at first glance, but guess what? If you think about it for a minute, look into it. There's 1 million people on that watch list. 1 million people. Now, who's watching anybody? They're catching nobody. So and here's the most scary and important thing. Who controls that list? You see? If it's Barry and his crew, wow, that's a lot of power. Oh, I'm on that list. What you could do is you could just put everybody with any whatsoever violation or it's a risk, so he better be on the list so he can't buy a weapon. What you're really doing is you're backdoor banning weapons and, in a sense, preventing people who maybe, but then again, the Trump thing, it's a terrorist. We don't want No, we don't. But guess what? Once you're on that list, it's tough to get off that list. And it hasn't really helped. It hasn't helped catch any of these shooters being on that list, including this guy, whether he was on it or not. FBI interviewed him. They're missing everything. So really, the fact is with Barry controlling the list, I don't trust it. So I thought to myself, maybe it should be like a school teacher situation. Like, you can't effectively teach as a teacher. You can't teach, say, 300 kids to read in your class. They try to make the classes, sometimes they're still too big, but make 20, 30 kids. You got to give at least, one teacher can only handle so many cases and be effective. That's the key. Same thing here. Maybe we limit that list to not in the millions or the hundreds of thousands. We limit it to how many watchers can be watching, because otherwise, who's watching what? Who's watching anything? What are they watching? So now, that's another clever idea, I thought to myself. I was proud of myself for that idea. But then, thinking further, wait a minute. That's just going to make Barry and the ensuing big government people say, these lists are swelling. We need to hire more watchers. That's all. And thus the government grows and the government grows and the government grows. So I think it's odd that Trump picked that issue to go to bat for. I think he thinks it's going to impress some of the centrist people and whatnot. I think it's a poor political calculation. But what do I know? So, in light of the events in Orlando, and by the way, this poor kid couldn't even get credit, for this. He's not going to get the 72 virgins. He's not going to, or raisins. It seems like, I don't know, it seems like it's either virgins or raisins, but wow. It's looking to me like a lot of these guys, a lot of the sexual assaults going on in Europe and in Germany, a lot of them are on little boys. I'm thinking they want some little boy prepubescent raisins, if you will. But anyway, in light of all of this stuff, and people are scared, and by the way, gay people are flocking to to buy these guns and various guns for self-protection. And I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, is there a box on the applicant, the background check, or you get, I don't know how they even know. Maybe they're just swishing around in there, or maybe they just say it to themselves for the, to speak out. But whatever, I'm all for it. In light of all of this, not panic, but this unease, okay? Especially when you got two presidential candidates and one actual president, all of whom are at odds, you understand? So with all of that in mind, Barry still is sticking to his immigration plan, meaning bringing in the Syrian refugees, these military-age men. We're seeing very little wives and children. These guys left their wives and children, if they even had any. And we don't know who seeks to do us harm and whatnot. And of course, Trump or anyone who even suggests that the vetting process, be enhanced, is called down as a racist and an Islamophobe and all that type of stuff. Fact of the matter is, even all of Obama's cabinet level intelligence guys who know what the fuck is going on, or allegedly, I want to come back to that, the money we're spending on these guys to miss everything, but national security, FBI, head of the CIA, they're all saying, we can't vet we can't take all these refugees, okay? We can't find out who they are in a timely manner. It usually takes 18 to 24 months to vet someone in terms of these refugee programs. That's kind of the norm. Now, if you want to just be a regular guy from Scotland or a girl who just wants to come to America, you have two choices. Either you can go through a lengthy, horrendous immigration process whereby you live in the country for this many years and you have to, the hoops you have to jump through are ridiculous, or you can marry an American man. Or, of course, this could go for women. But if you're a refugee, with no skills, no English abilities, and not really frankly, that much to offer. Let's hurry you through. That's what Obama wants to do. He wants to speed the vetting process up. Take the 18 to 24 months and turn it into like 3 months. And all of his cabinet level security guys, intelligence guys are saying, dude, we can't do it. It's not long enough. Yet he doubles down and he insists and insists and insists upon doing it. I have to scratch my head and I have to say, why? What's the big hurry to do this? How does it help America? And you hear them talk, well, it's just not who we are. To single out people and single out religions, and that's just not who we are. That's not the values that we have. Bullshit. He himself stopped Iraqi immigration for like 6 months, just with a stroke of a pen. Nobody comes in from Iraq. Boom. The USA, for 40 years, we stopped immigration. Nobody can come. There was a huge burst in the 20s. I don't even know, producer boy, exactly what the date was. But until like 1965, nobody could come in, no matter what color or wherever part of the country you came from. Why? I'll tell you why. I know the answer. The answer is we had to catch our breath. That's the answer. We couldn't assimilate these people into the society and into responsible, productive citizens. And these are people who wanted to be Americans. They scrimped and saved and came in terrible conditions sometimes, much like people from the south border, Mexican border do. I mean, they do risk life and limb. The difference is with the Mexican or Central American incursion from the south, if you will, to me, only having experience as I have with these people, they don't have any hatred. They want to be American. They want their kids to go to American schools. They know they come from a corrupt shithole, and they want to be Americans, and they want to work hard, by and large. Hopefully it's the same thing with these Syrian migrants or these Muslim migrants from wherever as they overrun Western Europe. Hopefully it's the same thing, but we just can't find out in 3 months. And you have to wonder, Barry, what is the huge hurry? None of these people are in mortal danger. And in fact, what we should do, and this echoes back to the Scotty doctrine, you'll have to go back. I'll tell you what it is. Anyone 5 years and younger can come in, no questions asked. But these men, these military age, bearded men, we have to find out what's going on. Why don't any of these other Muslim countries in direct proximity to them, why don't they take a single Muslim refugee? Why doesn't Saudi Arabia take some? They got all the money in the world. Why can't we vet them thusly? We have a camp, and we make a nice-ass camp, not some ghetto, and we work with them. We put a bunch of liberal psychologists, psycho weirdos in there, and they can leave anytime they want, by the way. And in fact, if they don't adhere to certain principles after being told several times, they're going to get kicked out. After that, they've earned their keep. They want to be Americans and come on in. The problem is, a lot of these people have an inherent hatred of the U.S. and a sympathy for Sharia law, like they're not against it. And if you look through history and not, worry about being a racist and a homo. By the way, Muslim's not a race. Last time I checked. And you look at it honestly, you see that for 1,400 years, these guys have fought with everybody. That doesn't mean, though, that they can't come here and they want to get away from all that. That's the idea. We want to come and we want to be American. Okay, come on in, dude. We're going to check you out for a while. Make sure you're cool. Make sure your story checks out, if you will. And then, to be honest, see what's in it for us. If you're a nuclear scientist or you're some great computer hacker, we can use you there, Ahmed. Come on in. But if you have no visceral skills, you can't speak one lick of English, you don't want to learn any English, you just want to go live with your buddy, I don't see how that really helps us so much, you know what I mean? So it's really not about, one religion or this and this and that, but why does Barry want to rush it so much? What is the big hurry to fill our country with people who potentially hate us? There's thousands of people on these terror watch lists. And in 1 second, I'm going to tell you some of my feelings on that. If you don't believe your own experts, what's the point of having the experts, I mean, systematically, of course, Obama has purge the military of some long-standing lifer-type guys who have gone against his, hollowing out of the military and have spoken out about it and whatnot. They found themselves, they were ready to go anyway. Nobody wants to serve under this guy, but despite all that, still, that's just not who we are. Not who we are. He doesn't speak for me. He doesn't speak for many people I know at all, though I do see some dum-dums on social media once in a while saying, we're going to miss him. He was, they're trying to get this warm, fuzzy feeling. Fucking ridiculous. Point is, we can't vet these people. All the money that we spend, CIA, NSA, FBI, it's billions and billions and billions of dollars for clowns to sit in front of computers and do research and listen to our phone calls and all this stuff, and yet they miss it every single time. Even this time, they missed it. The FBI had this clown 2 times from Orlando. But he hadn't committed a crime. This poor hamstruck, what would you call it? They have to fight with 1 or 2 arms behind their back because, the Obama administration has made it clear that never say jihad or radical or Muslim, or no associating any of that. And why? So they're a little hamstrung, yet we're still spending all this crazy money, and they're really just keeping kind of a better eye on us, aren't they? Really. With all those billions we spend on the CIA and all these services, they miss it every fucking time, including when the guy bought his gun. One gun shop he went into, he was just asking all kinds of dopey questions, like the dumbass towels that wanted to just learn how to take off a plane. Who wants to learn that? One flight school said, you want to what? Get the fuck out of here, Hodge. Beat it. Same thing with this gun shop, with this Mateen guy. Yeah, he passed the background check, but he was so weird that the vigilant citizen, the shop owner said, what is he asking? As the clerk said, well, hold on, let me check with my boss. He's asking about body armor and all these weird fucking questions and multiple rounds and what? Get him the fuck out of here. We're not selling you nothing, dude. You can't even put a quarter in our peanut box. Get out of here. Notified the authorities, who did nothing because he hasn't committed a crime yet. They're hamstrung. So what's the point of it? We can all see once the crime's been committed, the investigation. The kid called 10 news outlets. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. I did this for ISIS. He's posting on Facebook. He's calling news channels. We know where this kid came from. We know where his mind was at. Polluted dumbass. He's a sad, polluted dumbass. I would have liked to keep him alive just to fucking do some experiments on the kid. What is wrong with you, weirdo? You're gay, you got 7 wives. I mean, what the fuck? Point is, all of our defense spending is a paltry 3 and change percent of our GDP. That's all. And yet that's the first place that all these idiots want to go to cut. We're just spending too much on this stuff. And we don't need to arm ourselves against intent. We need to arm ourselves against capability. You understand? And we need to go get these guys where they live and take them out. But nobody's got the political will for that. Nobody's got the political will. We have these targets that'll just be laser. And if it hits one civilian, oh, no, my God. Oh, there was a collateral damage. That's the name of fucking war. Can't just kill the soldiers. These guys are multiplying like fucking rabbits. They'll have more soldiers in no time. They're just breeding them to be soldiers, breeding them with hatred, filling them with it. Hatred for us, hatred for Jews, hatred for freedom. Why do we need this? Why? Why would Barry want this? You have to scratch your head and say, which team is this kid playing for? All right, so here we are. It's election season. Everybody's feeling it. By the way, what happened to Bernie? He had a little meeting with Obama last week, I think, and he kind of came out, and apparently they gave him the old gold watch. All right, Bern. You've had it. But Mr. I haven't decided. I'm getting out of the race yet. I've won many states. Yeah, I know, Bern. But I've packed stadiums, and that cold, calculating, steely Hillary Clinton, she can't pack a library. True that, Bern. But we decided it's her time, so it's a wrap for you. Haven't heard a word from the guy. Now, of course, what he'll do is eventually, today, I believe Tuesday or today or whatever was the final primary. He bows out. And, historically, this is when Hillary bowed out during this week that we're in now. When she was running against Obama in 2008, she stayed till, not the convention, but almost to it. The question is, what kind of ridiculous demands is Bernie going to make? I will not tell my followers to pull the lever for Hillary if I'm not satisfied that the Democratic platform includes some of my planks. Yeah, I got your plank. They'll tell him whatever he wants to hear. And then he'll endorse Hillary. He's got more in common with Trump than Hillary. And speaking of Trump, out of 320-something million people, the best choices that we have to lead us as president are this. I mean, seriously, folks. This lady is a crook. Always on the chalk lines. Always defending against some conspiracy that's been hatched against her. How many of you people at home have had numerous investigations, whether or not you were found innocent? Boy, you sure are the old, what they call the near the occasion of sin, to quote a Catholic phrase. Too often, more than most of us. Or this guy that looks like some terrible rodent, crawled up onto his head, sprayed some gold tanning stuff around his eyes after carefully taping them up so that it would only be orange, not on the eyes themselves. That's the best we got going on? They're both fucking reality shows, if you ask me. The worst thing that Trump can do is try to reach out to these, shall I say, moderates, these independents. He can reach out to them, but he can reach out to them in plain terms like he did. He said, all you Bernie people, we welcome you with open arms. Of course you do. None of those whack jobs are going to go with him, maybe a few of them. But if he tries to appeal to them, meaning he begins to lurch to the center, getting more electability, if you will, listening to consultants who were behind Romney, that fucking loser, who were behind McCain, loser, all these Karl Rove guys, all these guys who know everything, but they're sticking Bob Dole up against a dynamic Bill Clinton. Clean their clock. You see? And this is just what they want. It's almost as though they want to lose. These Republicans in name only. They're horrible. I want them all out. They've had control of the both houses of Congress for the better part of Obama's term and have squandered it completely. So I have no time for them. But if Trump starts backtracking because he's getting polling data from, starts paying the K Street people that Hillary doesn't utter a sentence before she runs it through a goddamn focus group, if he starts doing that stuff, moderating his message, if you will, he's done. Because then he just becomes another run-of-the-mill guy who's just trying to get elected. And that wasn't what he started with. He started with sort of a populism. And I've said before that this guy, he's not going to be that impressed with the pomp and circumstance. This guy owns resorts. He owns skyscrapers, hotels. He lives a pretty lavish life. Not flashy particularly, I wouldn't say. Not a spendthrift. But the White House isn't that big of a step up for this guy's lifestyle, which is very rare for presidents. So he needs to stay right where he's at and sink or swim with what got him here. You dance with the one that brung you, bitch. We are a nation of immigrants. It's true. Not like Barry says. He doesn't represent us. Any Americans I know, at least. He doesn't have an understanding. He doesn't have a grasp of the Constitution. And even, dare I say, a lot of values that a lot of Americans hold near and dear to their hearts. Otherwise, he has to just be incompetent. If he's not nefarious, then he's incompetent. Either way, we lose. So, but still, we are a nation of immigrants. We are. We need bodies. We want them. We need immigrants who want to come to America to be Americans because of the values and the rights and the privileges and it's the place to be. That's why you have to want to come. Not to spread your thing. Keep your culture. Keep your history to a degree. But you left that hellhole. So when you get here, if you get here, by God, you appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, in my opinion, Barry is going to do as much damage as he can possibly do on his way out the door. Now, he doesn't see it as damage. It's just execution of his worldview. And let's give the guy some credit. He did say he wanted to fundamentally transform America. He said it. Guy did what he said he was going to do. He did begin to do this, and it's an incremental thing, and he knows it. He knows how to do it. He studied at the feet of the great Marxists, the Saul Alinsky's, the Karl Marx, not to mention his own upbringing, Muslim schools, 2 Muslim men that his mother married. His worldview of America is not one of love and the shining city on the hill that Ronald Reagan was able to describe to people who were, the country was in a malaise, if you will, when Jimmy Carter was president. Double-digit inflation, Reagan's had something about him that people were like, maybe that guy can do the job. Kind of like they almost were with Bill Clinton in a way. Totally different ideology, but Obama is a radical, most radical president that we've ever had, by far. Borderline Manchurian candidate. So listen, with that all having been said, we'll see you next week. Follow me on Twitter at WTF America, Real WTF America. Also, email address, realwtfamerica@gmail.com. And I just have to tell you, I love you.